Hello, everyone. This is your host, A. Lawrence Haskins. Thank you for tuning in to this edition on ALHlive.com. Here with me today are emerging filmmakers, wonderful people. Their debut film, Anomaly, has just rocked the Langston Hughes African American Film Festival. I have the director here, Jessica Chin Dramé, and his producer, Sharon Smith. Ladies, thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much for having us on your show.
Oh, you're very welcome. You're very welcome. Now, we just watched the film. The film was great. It was full of
Thank you.
There was a lot of, it was very poignant in its storytelling. You did a masterful job telling the story. How long was this documentary in the making?
Mm-hmm. Yes, it was in the making for 8 years, which is a long time. So it's certainly a labor of love, because it took a few years to fundraise, develop the film, find their characters, do shooting over a period of a couple of years, as their lives unfolded during the documentary process, and then, finally edit. Yes.
I'll give you guys a really quick recap. The document is called Anomaly, and it's about some of the struggles and adversities that multiracial individuals, mixed race individuals have, particularly in America. Mm-hmm. Is that correct? And so this is something you can identify with personally, obviously, as told in the film, right?
Sure.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
It's not all bad.
So you being the producer on the film, what drew you to the project, Sharon?
Well, I guess that not ever having really seen anything on screen about the mixed race experience. I think that's something that any sort of people of color communities can really identify with. We don't see our images up on screen all that often, and when we do, it's sort of a single dimension type of a portrayal.
I have to tell everybody out there's so much to this film, but one thing that stood out to me, there was this dialogue, the white wrong dialogue. Mm-hmm. Okay, I can't even explain it to you. Okay, I can't even. If I try to explain it to you, it's not even going to do it any justice. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to ask the director, the producer, whichever one wants to go first, where did that come from?
Right. Well, Thaddeus Rutkowski is a writer. He's been a writer for quite a while, and he's a really smart writer, and he likes to play with words and language. And so, and his experience is also pretty interesting. And it allows him to play with that language, and he enjoys playing with it, performing it, and getting people to really think about what does this mean. So, what does it mean to think about race from a color place, and what happens when you start messing with that a little bit. So, and that's the advantage of us having used artists to tell some of the story, because we didn't really have to manipulate too much.
Right.
So.
Kind of shifting gears a little bit, I thought that your storytelling, your eye was very brave, right? And I'm explaining to you why. I mean, the subject matter itself, you have to have guts to talk about the subject matter itself. But when you allowed Michelle, and you didn't edit what she said her family was calling her husband, right? I sat there and I was sitting there and I was watching that, and I was like, yeah, they've got guts. Because normally people would try to, you'd say, okay, cut that, now just kind of refer to it this way, but you let her speak the anger, the disgust. I mean, how did you feel about that portion when you were on the editing room, chopping that up?
Right. Well, the editing process was definitely very informative, and especially with documentary, that's where you're really going through all the material and seeing what works, and that was one of the standout scenes, I think, because of just how raw and how candid her emotions are at that point in time. At the end of the day, this is all coming from family in some scenarios.
Yeah, that's what's so hurtful for her.
Right.
She couldn't believe it. She just didn't understand it. Yeah.
So it was very important for us to, preserve those kinds of moments, and I guess, we were just wondering during the process of making the film, if it would push, what kinds of buttons it would push in some audiences.
It's just whose and how badly. But really, you want to be true to the story, and that is part of Michelle's story, and it's, the use of that word is part of American story, and we still have a lot of conflict with it. So for us, it was like, you know, it's part of this story, it's part of this film, and why really kind of feel too worried about that?
I took it as Sharon. I took it as her, not obviously not giving consent to the word.
Right. Sure.
I took it
Yeah.
as her exposing her family,
Right.
the ugliness that was in her family.
Right.
That's how I took it. I didn't
Right.
take it her like she was giving consent. I mean,
No.
obviously who she
no.
married to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, the film again. The documentary film is called Anomaly. It's about the struggles and things like that of mixed race individuals, particularly in America. The director, again, is Jessica Chin-Drame, and the producer here with us also is Sharon Smith. So what's next for you,
Right. Well,
for the team?
Well, what's next for the team is to continue getting Anomaly out there to different film festivals all around the country and internationally. It's been very interesting to see where new interest has cropped up from, festivals as many different kinds of places, Atlanta, Colorado. We've gotten inquiries from like South Africa and Ghana
I can imagine.
Yeah.
Okay. Right.
Australia.
Right.
Yes.
So we're getting some requests from outside of the U.S. because I think there's just not a lot of film about this experience, and so yeah, I mean there's some, but there's room for more is the point. And so people are kind of hungry for it, I think, around the world in terms of how to think about mixed race and what it means.
Again, everyone out there, the film is Anomaly. You can find more information at anomalythefilm.com, or you can also go to wordpress.anomalythefilm.com. Again, director Jessica Chin-Drame and producer Sharon Smith. I'm your host, A. Lawrence Haskins. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you next time. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.